today's session, we are going to discuss the handling of mouse over action, similar to drop down handling and the table handling. So we are having something called as an mouse over actions. Okay. So what is meant by mouse over action? So in multiple web pages, like if we place the mouse over the certain field, so for example, if I place my mouse over this accounts and list, you could see like it is loading your list and your account. If I move the mouse from this region, so again what happened? So the particular field got disabled, which means the particular section will appear one and only if the user places the mouse over the accounts and the list. If the user moves the mouse from the account and list, then the particular section will be disabled. So for example, so we are going to automate a scenario. So where we need to click on this baby list. So like if we need to click on this baby list, then for sure like we need to hover our mouse over it so that the particular section will be loaded. So whenever the particular section is loaded at the back end, the DOM structure will be refreshed and we can able to see the node of each and every field. So in order to handle it, initially like we need to hover the mouse over it, and once we hover over it, then we can do whatever the operation we need in this particular section. So how we are going to hover over the mouse? So like how we have the select class to handle the static drop down. So to handle the mouse over action, we are having some class called as an actions class. Okay, so with the help of the actions class, so we can easily handle the mouse over action. So like I already told multiple times, like in order to use one class in other class, so we all we always need to create an object. So if I need to use this action class in other class, so for sure I need to create an object. So I will be creating for the creating a object for the actions class, and post that like the class contains method. So in similar way the actions class contain multiple method, and with the help of the methods we are going to handle the respective thing. So what are the action we are going to perform over the mouse in the sense? So initially like we may hover over the particular field. So for this like we will be using the method called as an click and hold. Okay, so there is a method called as an click and hold, which generally hover over the particular field, and it will hold it for a certain time. So till we perform the action, so it will hover the mouse over the certain field. And secondary, like we will be doing the double click with the help of the mouse. So like as of now, in our automation, so we are doing only the single click. So whenever I type some input, if I type an iPhone and if I click on the search bar, here I am performing the single click. But in few application, the particular button will operate or it will work one and only if we do the double click over it. So if we need to do the double click, so then we need the help of the action class. So then in some cases we may need to drag and drop the elements, or we can drag and drop the image, etc. So whenever the drag and drop come into the picture, like we need to rely on the actions class. And other is like finally, so there is an another click called as an context click. So whenever the user is going to perform the right click, so the right click is called as an context click. So in many application, like we may like need to click on the right click. So if the right click need to work, then we need the help of the action class, so which can be achieved with the help of the context click. So now let's do it practically, so how we can automate this scenario. So in the amazon.feature file, I am just adding the new scenario. okay, or else like in the same scenario. So let's say this is a search result validation, right? Okay, let us have it as a different scenario. Suppose that like we can add all the validations. So I'm just adding the scenario as mouse action, like given user navigates to baby wishlist page. Okay, so like we need to navigate to the baby wish list page, which is nothing but we need to hover over here and we need to click on this baby wish list, and post that like we need to do the validation, so whether it has been navigated to the baby wish list or not. Now let's see, like whenever we are creating the statement, as I mentioned, like we need to map the statement to the respective step definition. So like you can just hover over the mouse over it and you can click on the option called as create step definition, and you can add it in the existing class file or you can add it in the new class file. Okay, so now I'm just adding it in an existing class file. So now like we are going to handle the mouse over action. So in order to handle the mouse over action, so like we need the help of the actions class. So in order to use one class in other class, so we always create an object. So I'm going to create an object. So let me create a variable name as an action is equal to new of actions. Okay, so I have created the object for the action class. So post creating the object, there is an error in the options class. So it is asking us to pass an argument. And what type of argument it is asking us to pass, in the sense it is asking us to pass the web driver, because like only to the web driver like we need to communicate to hover over the certain field. So which means like we need to inject the knowledge of the web driver to the action class. So we have already inherited the knowledge of the web driver from the base code to the Amazon code step. And what is the variable name of the web driver? It is called as a driver. So I'm just injecting the knowledge of the web drive to the action class. So now the class contains method. So if I say like action dot something, like we are having n number of methods, like we are having the different methods like drag and drop, click and hold, and so double click, and then the context click. So these are the four method like pretty much we will be using in the real time. So the first operation like we are going to perform here is like the click and hold. So the click and hold in the sense like the mouse will hover over the specific field. So where we need to hover over? So we need to hover over anywhere inside this node. So which is nothing but inside the accountant list. So which means if you see, if I use the method called as and click and hold, so it is asking us to pass a parameter. So what kind of argument we need to pass? So we need to pass a web element. So which means like we need to identify the web element of this specific field. So I can right click and I can inspect over it. Okay, here like if you see like the span is highlighting the account and list, whereas the above tag is highlighting the nav it's hello the username, and the above node highlighting the entire field. So we can hover over anywhere. So let us pick the parent, and here we are having the id. So just check whether the id is unique or not. If the id is unique, okay, so I could see like the ID is unique because it is present in the one of one result. So we can use the ID, and with the help of an ID we can create a web element. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a web element. So what is the name of the web element? Let's say it's account and list element. So we always give the meaningful name, so that like in future like whenever we refer our code, so we will get to know the usage. So what is the need of this particular web element? So I'm just creating the web element. So driver dot find element by dot id, and what is the id which we have? So nav list account list. So I'm just passing the id. So we are not performing any action, so just we are creating the web element. So at the end, I'm just adding the semicolon, and I'm passing this web element inside this click and hold method. So which means it will identify this web element and it will hover over the mouse over this particular element. Okay. So here, whenever we use the action class, so we always perform composite actions. So what is mean by composite actions? So composite action in the sense, so like multiple actions. So more than one action is called as an composite action. So here we always perform a multiple action. So multiple action in the sense we are going to click as well as hold. So the two operation is involved. So double click in the sense like we are going to click the specific button twice. So drag and drop in the sense we are going to drag, that is a separate operation, and drop is a separate operation. And content click in the sense it's a right click. So which means like we are going to like use the like right click option and we are going to select the specific action. So which means like here the multiple actions are involved. So whenever the multiple actions are involved, we call it as an composite action. Like in order to perform this composite action, like we should always use the method called as a build and perform. Okay, so there is a two method. So one we call it as an build, other we call it as an perform. So one and only if we use this two method, the composite action will be execute. So as we are performing the composite action, if we need to execute this click and hold, then at the end, like you should always use the two method. So one we call it as an dot build and dot perform. So whenever we are doing the mouse over action, so we should always need to include this build and perform method. So why we are including this build and perform method in the sense, because like here we are doing the composite actions. So whenever the composite action comes into the picture, like we should use this dot build and dot perform, or else like you always have in mind. So whenever you are using the actions class, so in order to work on the action class, so we should always use the dot build and dot perform method. Okay, so now for sure it will hover over this particular field and this particular section will be appearing. Next we need to click on this baby wish list. So how we are going to perform a click operation? So we'll be right clicking and inspecting this baby wish list and pose that like the particular node will be appearing up. So in this node, like we are having like a span tag and we are having the attribute called as a class attribute with the attribute value of name text, and then we are having some text value. So now if I just refer this class, so it is having a multiple result. Okay, so for sure like we can't use this class because the class is not a unique, but we don't have like other attribute in the specific node. So we don't have the id name or etc. So even if we try to write an H path using the class, it is not going to be unique because like we are having the multi-matching result. So it can be handled in various way. So in this specific node, so like we are having only the text value called as an baby wish list. So if you are planning to use this text, then there is a another export syntax called as an text of. So we should provide double slash tag name. So we should use the keyword called as an text of, and then in the single quotes we should provide the text value. So like what is the tag name here? So we can provide the tag name as a span, and I'm just using the text of keyword, and inside this text of keyword, so we need to provide the text value. So the text value present here is like baby wish list. So I'm just providing the text value, and then like I'm going to just check whether it is unique or not. So I can just do the control F and then I can just paste the syntax and I could see we are getting the one of one result. So which means like after performing this operation, like in order to click on the baby wish list, we can say like driver dot find element by dot hpath. We can use the hpath regular expression, and then we can perform the click operation over it. Okay, so either we can handle it with the hpath syntax, or like if you are planning to use the hpath access, yes, that is fine. Or other easiest way of handling in the sense, like you could see, like it is present inside the tag called as an a. So, or in other language, if I hover over the mouse, so these we call it as an link. So if you could see the like change. So initially, like whenever I hover the mouse, so it is pointing as an arrow mark. But if it is of an hyperlink, so if I hover over on the any field, the symbol of the mouse is changing to the hand symbol. So which means like it indicates if I click on this particular field, it will be navigate to other page. So which we call it as a link. So link is nothing but whenever we click, if it navigate from one page to other page, we call it as a link, or we call it as an hyperlink. So in our case, like if I hover over this account wish list, so you could see these we call it as an hyperlink. So the reason is like if I click on the baby wish list, it will navigate from one page to other page. So how we can identify whether it is a hyperlink or not in the sense, so whenever it is an hyperlink, it always start with a tag called as an a. Okay, so if it starts with a tag, so we call it as a link or hyperlink. Okay, so the a tag is nothing but, so we call it as an anchor tag. So whenever it start with an anchor tag, we call it as an hyperlink. So the hyperlink can be easily handled by two other locator. So one we call it as an link text and partial link text. Okay, so like we are having other two locator. So apart from the ID name, spot CSS selector and the tag name, so we are having few other locator called as an link text and partial link text. So what is the need of this two locator in the sense? So to handle the hyperlink, like we need the help of this locator. And how we will be identify, so whether it is a hyperlink in the sense, either it will start with anchor tag, or it should present inside the anchor tag. So for example, if I just open this Salesforce application, and even this forget password and the user customer domain, these are called as a hyperlink, because like it will be navigate to other page. So how we can identify whether it is a hyperlink in the sense, so just I can right click and I can click on the inspect button, and I need to look on the tag. What is the tag? So it is starting with the tag called as an a tag, so which is nothing but either we can handle it with the link text or partial link syntax, or here we are having the multiple locator property, you can use any of the locator property. And in Google, like we may like search certain things. So let's say like let me just search anything. So here you could see like these we call it as an hyperlink, because like whenever I click on it, so it will be navigating to other page. If I right click and inspect, so either it should start with the anchor tag, or it should be present inside the a tag. But you could see it is starting with a tag called as an h3. But if I look over its parent, so the parent will contain the a tag. Okay, so anyhow the h3 is present inside the a tag. Here the link text and the partial link text will work. Okay, so the link text and partial link text will work one and only if the node start with the a tag, which is nothing but a anchor tag. So now as it is, in case of an Amazon, if I hover over the mouse and if I just right click and inspect this baby wish list, I could see anyhow it is starting with the span tag, but it is present inside the a tag. Okay, you could see. So we have the starting tag over here, and the A tag is terminating here, and the span is present inside the A tag, which means it can be easily handled by the either the linked text or the partial linked text. So like in order to work on this linked text or partial linked text, we should pass the text value. So the text value in the sense which is appearing in the black color, we call it as a text value. So either I can handle with the help of the its path, or instead of it, like I can use, let's say I'm just going to use like driver dot find element by dot, I'm going to use the other locator called as an link text. So even the link text is a parameterized method, so we should pass the attribute value. So attribute value in the sense nothing but we need to pass the text value. So what is the text which is present here? We call it as an baby wish list. So I can just pass the baby wish list and I can perform the click operation. So what is the difference between the link text and the partial link text in the sense, like in case of a link text, so we should provide the full text, so which is nothing but we should provide the entire string. So here, so we should provide the entire string called as an baby wish list. So one and only if we provide the entire string, so the link test will work. So whereas the partial link test in the sense, like we can pass the partial value. So or in other language we can say, so you can pass the partial string. So partial string in the sense like the full string we call it as an baby wish list, so which we will be passing in the link text, whereas in the partial link text, so we can pass the partial value, like either you can pass the baby or you can pass the wish list, or you can pass the partial value called as an by wish. So likewise we can pass the partial value. So even if I search this partial value in the DOM structure, it should be unique. But here you could see, if I give the partial value called as an by wish, like we are having 12 match result, so more than the 12 match result, which means like we can't use this. So which means we need to identify the partial value which should be unique in nature. Okay, here now let me just try, I will run the first scenario with the link text. Now let me just run this scenario, how we are going to run with the help of the runner. Before that, like let me just provide the tag name. So let it be of an Amazon scenario 02, and I need to provide the tag in the runner file. So where is the runner? Like here I'm updating the tag and post that, like we need to check for the environment. So the in the configuration environment property, so we need to check the test environment. So as we are going to run over the Amazon, like let me just provide the Amazon URL over here, and either you can run in the Chrome or you can run in the Edge. So now let me navigate back to the runner and let me just run this runner. Okay, so it is invoking the particular test. So initially the browser invocation should happen, and post that it should hover over the mouse and then it should click on the baby wish list. You could see it has hover over and then it has click on the option called as an baby wish list, and post that like it has navigated to the next page. Okay,